good.
Hi.
Okay. Hello everyone, let's see if anybody can hear us.
Hey guys.
Hello. So now we're kind of using the camera upside down so we can't see ourselves, but let us know, because I have my phone over here, if you can hear us okay, if you can see us okay, and if everything is alright, then that's great. Let me just give me a second to log in. Great. Okay, yeah, I see myself here. Awesome. We already have a couple of people online. So welcome to Dropshipping News Live, session number 9. Here I am joined by Maor Amar. Hi Maor.
Hey Igal, what's up?
What's up? It's going through Maor's account. My name is Igal, and we'll start in just a moment. We'll start with a little bit of news. For me, I have just one thing that I want to say, and then you, maybe if you have any other news in mind, let us know. And also, we have a main topic today. What's the main topic?
So we're gonna talk about market research. I know that everyone has been asking, like, what is the winning products, how exactly to find them. So we're gonna speak about that. We're gonna talk about tactic and strategic ways and approaches by guys that doing dropshipping. So it's gonna be our main topic, so stay tuned because it's gonna be very interesting for you guys.
Yes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the news item that I heard recently. In October, eBay are going to give better seller protections, especially to top-rated sellers. I'm gonna probably put the link here in the live in a second, but basically what they say is that if you're a top-rated seller starting October 1, 2019, a buyer that falsely claims an item was not as described, you're protected from that in terms of you will have a return, like the return cost will be covered up to $6 by eBay. So if you're doing like Amazon dropshipping, then that could be even profitable for you, because they might be able to give you part of the money. They say the subsidy will be credited on your monthly invoice. For transaction to be eligible, you must report the buyer, and credits will be applied where we determine the buyer made a false claim. Now, I don't know more, maybe you know how they determine it and who's right, who's wrong in this situation. It's unclear to me at this point.
Okay, so just in general, and this is important to say, so every time period, eBay treats sellers differently. That means that, for example, in 2015, it was a very bad year to be a seller on eBay. It was very demanding on the KPIs, I mean the key performance indicators that eBay set for sellers. That means that we received a lot of defects on our account, and that means that also many of the sellers was going below standard just because of the very strict KPIs. 2016 was very good for sellers. It was something that you probably heard of. So eBay called it the year of the seller. They gave a lot of benefits to sellers, such as something that hardly exists today. It's called ZIF. It's zero insertion fees. Mm-hmm. That means that every time you listed an item that was above your store subscription, you received it probably for free. Mm-hmm. And then again came 2017, 2018, which was 2018 was actually a bad year for sellers. Mm-hmm. Also 2019 wasn't considered as a good year for sellers. Mm-hmm. But I think that the last approaches, and especially the changes that we probably see now, it means or indicate that eBay understand that they were probably very strict with dropshippers, closing many stores, having a lot of bad KPIs, removing top-rated seller, flagging accounts and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that at least now that we see increase in sales, even though it's like the weakest time period of the year, and we're gonna talk about that in a second. But I think that this is a change in the approach of eBay, and it might lead probably to a better year with strict indicators. So in general, regarding the change, so many of the sellers always complain that buyers always using or abusing the system by using the item wasn't as described in order to return the item, because this way they know for sure they can return the item for free. There is nothing that they need to add or do in addition, because as you probably know, most of the sellers' policies is, of course, buyer will receive his item, his money back, or a money back guarantee if buyer sends the item. But who should bear the cost of sending the item back is, of course, the buyer. So buyers abuse it by doing or using as damaged items, or using it as not as described in order to get it for free as a return. Now, dropshippers know how to deal with this kind of situation, because we have mainly Amazon or Walmart's back. So that means that most of the times we return the items for free, but many other sellers that are using third parties or other vendors in order to ship the items, they need to cover the returns, and that's a big issue. So I'm hoping that with this change, at least, buyer will probably utilize or abuse this situation less, and of course sellers can have more profits.
Yeah, and also as they say here in the section, that they will also automatically remove negative and neutral feedback, defects, and open cases in service metrics once they determine that a buyer falsely claims and abuses the system in regards to their purchase of your item. I just want to add that historically, I don't know if you know more, but eBay allowed sellers to also leave negative feedback to buyers.
Yeah.
And it was way back, and then they finally, or very quickly, found out that sellers will kind of use this to gain their power. To, the user that bought and didn't like the item and put negative feedback, then the seller said, "Oh, okay, I will threaten him with negative feedback so that everybody else will know he's a bad buyer." And eBay had this metric that if you have below like 95% feedback, then as a seller you can decline this customer, for example. So that was kind of a power in the hands of the sellers, but it was long gone.
Yeah, it was long gone. There is no point to start negotiating or speaking regarding this too much, but just saying in advance that many of the buyers was actually was afraid to purchase products on eBay. So eBay did a survey back in the days, and they noticed that buyers was actually afraid to purchase products on eBay just because of these negative feedbacks. So they decided to remove it, and I think that that's the right way. But I'm just gonna say also one better thing. So I don't know if you noticed, but eBay removed many negative feedbacks from the accounts. So many of the accounts rating was actually going up in the last month. So many of the sellers at least reports that they see better results on the feedback score, just because eBay removed a lot of feedbacks and defects and stuff like that. So again, this is also very encouraging, because it relates to better metrics for sellers.
Yes. Also, let me just put the link here. Also, they allow you to deduct from the return how much you're going to refund. So, excuse me. Yes, so what you're going to do is, once you receive the item, you'll have the option to deduct up to 50% of the refund. So if you see and you can prove that the item is damaged, then it can give you a lot of return on what you lost. Because before that, if you receive a bad product, you spent your money to the supplier for a new and a good product, and you've been returned a damaged product, what are you going to do? And now you can actually return some of that money. So I think that's very interesting and a very good thing that they added. Again, they added it only to top-rated sellers, but there's also some protections to all sellers. Don't know if there's a lot of added value here, but I'll just read through it so you can know. If an item returned after it was used or damaged by the buyer, actually they also have here the same protection up to 50%, and they started, I don't know if you saw that in your accounts, but in my accounts I saw that when I do refunds, they also sometimes give me the option, do I want to give them a full refund or just a partial refund. So that's something that can help you increase your profit or mitigate losses. Okay, this is not interesting. A buyer retracted their bid or didn't pay, so you're protected from feedback and from defects from that. A buyer demanded something not offered in the original listing. That's something I think pretty much always was and will be, hopefully, and that you'll be protected from that as well. Also, things outside your control, like item arrived late because of the shipping provider and someone who is approved by eBay, and if there was weather or carrier disruptions that weren't planned or weren't under your control. So you're protected from defects and from negative feedback from that.
Force majeure.
Yeah, force majeure. Yeah, when God decides to punish someone. All right. So with that being said, do we want to dive into some more things like that, or maybe go to the next big topic?
So this is more technical things. We are bringing this to you as news, but probably, as you know, there are more juicy stuff to speak about.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that market research is like one of the main topic that people are always asking. Like I'm getting a lot of questions. I think and I read a lot in the Facebook groups and also all around. People are always asking like, what is the winning product? How can I find them? How exactly can I utilize them in my store in order to get more and more sales? Now, people that knows me along the years knows that my approach regarding finding winning products in general, this is something that I really don't like to speak exactly how to find like the exact winning product, because I truly don't believe in that. I believe that dropshippers should stick to numbers, to mathematics. That means that every time you are looking for a winning product for me is a product that provides a good profit, a healthy one, and also it's a product that has less returns, less cases, less involvement with the customer support,
Negative feedback.
negative feedback, of course, and it sells like in a very good, timely manner without the need to become like an item that is a seasonal, such as costumes for Halloween or I don't know, back to school items. But in general, I think that dropshippers should always take the same approach. We do not fall in love with our items. Items that we sell are not in our possession. We didn't manufacture them, and we can always just change them. So in general, this is the right approach regarding marketing research. Now, what I wanted to speak with you guys is to give you all kinds of tactics that people are doing today in their day-to-day job once they are doing dropshipping, and maybe we should think together and mix between things. And I will really want your advice or to listen to your comments in the comments below the chat, and let's think about it together. So there are many approaches on how should I sell items and how should I find like the winning products. So in general, I think the first thing that mainly dropshipper learn how to do, and many people teaches the same thing, is to go to other sellers, try to scrape their item, trying to find like the best winning products because they have like an history, and to try to sell those same items. Now, I know that many of the people are doing that, and I truly believe in competition because I think that competition helps the market grow. It helps users make better decisions in the world of e-commerce in general, and I think that this is the right approach. To find an item that has a competition, that means that most likely it has like some kind of level of interest. Now, when doing that, let's say that I went to another seller and I started to scrape all of his winning items. I gave like a very strict, let's say, parameters such as pricing, number of sales, velocity, that means how fast was the product selling. And now I took those items and I put them in my store. So think about what happened to the market right now. So the market has more and more competition, and as long as people are doing like the same thing, what is actually happening is that the profit are starting to get very low, and people are starting to lose actually the healthy approach that I just spoke about, like just putting the item, expecting it to sell with less customer support, less returns and less cases, and now the profit margin are starting to get very low, and people are not benefiting from that. So I'm not against that, because I truly believe that this is one of the best like drivers for you guys to have in your store more and more selling items. But if you will take this approach and you make it like your main, and that means that all of your stores will cover like items that you took from other sellers, that means that you will find yourself in a very big competition. That means that your profit margins will probably go low and low because you have better competition, and not all the time we can compete with those competition. So it either means like less sales, even though at the beginning we were trying to get more sales, or if we are selling those items, we mean that we will probably profit less. So take this approach, and if you decide to either use it, try to at least have a control of it. So in general, don't build your store based on just scraping other sellers, because this is not the right approach when you try to scale. So I'm guessing like this is like my first tip regarding market research. I think that another approach is trying to find like the best winning sellers on a category, or better than that, trying to find like a good category that has a conversion rate. This is something that you will probably need to know using other researching tool. So many of the people are trying to find like the best categories that are selling. Now, the only mistakes that people usually does when they do that is that they are trying to find, let's say that I took like a baby monitor, okay? And I took it and I tried to research like the full category, and I found out that this is like one of the best categories to sell on. Now, people should always remember that they need to measure also the velocity in regards to time. So how much did we sell those items in the last period, and if the next period is still a winning period for me. So for example, if we are trying to search for, let's say, back to school items, you will probably see a very good conversion rate on the category. But if we will take those items and we will think forward and we will think how those items will probably sell on September, then we will probably see less and less. Now, if we are looking and very concentrated on just one or two products, or let's say if we decided it's a baby monitor, I have to say that one of the best things for you is to find something that I call as the golden price. So let's say that, for example, we found out after a market research that most of the baby monitors sells for, let's say, $50. Now, if you will look at the range of prices, you will probably see baby monitors that are selling for $30 and other baby monitors that are selling for $100. But the majority where the golden price exists is somewhere around the 50s. Because if we were searching for how many items was selling for $50, we will probably see the biggest numbers around those prices. But if I will search for the hundreds or the 20s, I will probably see less and less. So just in general, when you are trying to penetrate a market or to market research an item, try to find like what is the golden price. And it's very easy to just look it in your eyes, just search for the product, do it yourself. Even on eBay, it doesn't require a specific tool to do that.
Completed listings, sold items,
exactly.
filters.
Try to do like the average. What you see, how many items do you see in the 50s area, and how many items you see in the 100. Now, if you will try to find an item that is most likely a good one, that you think that it might look like an item that is selling with a good picture, a good title, a good pricing, and let's say it's for $40 or $45, that's like your sweet point. This is like the price that for sure, if you are trying to sell an item in a world that everyone buys for $50 or $60, and you will purchase the product for $45, that will for sure do the difference. And it also relates to something that is related to psychology, just pure psychology. So there is something that in the world of psychology that's called an anchor. Like if I'm used to purchase products like a baby monitor for $50, that's like my anchor. That means that it will be very hard for me to double the price or to even buy it in $75. But it will be very reasonable for me to purchase it for $45. If I will sell it for less, it will be like a point where I will start asking myself, is it worth it?
Yeah, is it good?
Is it
a fake
good?
one?
Yeah. And it really depends on the product that you are selling, but I'm sure that if I'm selling a baby monitor, people don't want to have like second thoughts about the product because it's like a life-saving product for them. So think about what we just spoke about, and this is a good approach of how to do, or at least to come into market research. Now, if we are coming back to the store and we spoke about items that are selling for, because we took from competition, then I should always like try to build my store in a way that has at least combination between both of the strategies at least.
So high velocity items that we might copy from others, but also items that we have that are in the price range in that category probably for that item, but even maybe slightly lower price, so that people will be easier to go into that, right? So,
exactly.
And just to clarify, when you say $45. That's the price that you're going to offer that to people, right?
Exactly.
It's not the source price.
It's not the source price, exactly.
Right.
Now, another approach is in the world of dropshipping. So I know that people sometimes say, listen, I want to be a lazy guy that sells online. That means that I'm going to sell a very expensive products for a very good profit margin, and I'm hoping to sell just one. I'm not looking to sell hundreds or even thousands of products a month. I'm just looking to sell just one daily or two daily, but this will cover what people usually or normally do when they are selling, let's say, 100 products, but they only profit just $1 on a product. Now, in this world, it's actually very hard to deal with, because it sounds great in the theory, but in the reality, it's very hard to find products that are selling for expensive prices and the profit margins are extremely huge. So the problem is, of course, starting again with the psychology of the customers. So people, when they are going to purchase things online, they are always looking like for the cheap items. It's very hard to have faith in the platform in order to make purchases. Think about you guys. Now, when you go to AliExpress, for example, and you're trying to purchase a product, if a product sells for $150, for example, that sounds like crazy to you. Like, is this seller for real? Is like selling for $150? Who will purchase these products for him on AliExpress for $150? Now, but this is starts from your entering point, because you truly believe that AliExpress is like the cheapest place to purchase products. And this is your own faith and belief. So again, there are many people that thinks like the same about eBay. When they are coming to eBay, they are trying to look for the cheap items. They are trying to find items that they don't have in their own country, or they do have it in their own country only for expensive prices than what they normally can purchase on eBay. So it's hard to sell a very profitable product or a very expensive product. So that means that you should always take like the approach of having like 10 or 20% out of your store with these kinds of products, because it will still make the difference in the profit. But again, you should always think about it won't sell with such a velocity that will make a difference.
Yeah, and I think it's also, especially in this case of items that are rare to sell, a numbers game. Because, you know, if you're just starting out and you're putting like 50 items and you put maybe just 10 of them very, very expensive that have the profit that you want to make, the substantial profit, there is not a big chance that it will happen not in 1 month, and especially not in 2 months, because eBay will see nobody buys that. But if you have a lot of items and you can put like just for testing out like hundreds of items with especially big margins, then you'll have a much higher chance to see, oh, okay, these items maybe sell rarely, but they do sell, and once they sell, they give me a good profit. What can I do with them? Maybe you can contact the supplier, even FBA sellers on Amazon. You can contact them maybe to lower the price because you already bought or you're expecting to sell more. Or for example, you can see what other items that people buy with that item, like you can also put in your store, stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's very, in stuff like that, you have to have big numbers to see a good effect with high margin products.
Yeah, for sure. So in general, just to sum up at least the things that we just spoke about. So again, when approaching to market research, you should always think about the combination of strategies that you are going to deal with in your store. Now, another approach, and this is something that you should always take under consideration, is approach that says, okay, the numbers, and this relates actually to what you said, Igal. It relates to the prices on the purchase of the product. So, as you know, when we are doing business, like, when do you know it's a good deal? It's when you purchase a product at a very reasonable or a good price. So if I'm going like to purchase, let's say, I don't know, a baby monitor, okay, because we started with that. And I know that normally products like baby monitor cost like $20 or, I don't know, $15. And now I got a very good deal for a 5 or a 10, that means that I got a very good deal. But when I'm doing like retail arbitrage or dropshipping, I don't have like a control on the prices because they can go up, they can go down. I'm always purchasing them in like retail price, and I'm taking like the retail price, I'm adding all my costs and my profit, and I'm just placing or listing the item, and I'm hoping for it to sell. So exactly like Igal said, like when going into other suppliers, trying to get all kinds of deals, that for sure will make the difference. This is why I'm always encouraging you guys to try to find like the best deal when you're purchasing the products. And as dropshippers, since not always we can be in contact with the FBA seller or a supplier, or sometimes it relates to the country that I'm at, and it's very hard for me to get suppliers like that. So at least take advantages on stuff like all kinds of flash sales or coupons that you can find. So there are many products on Amazon with coupons, so you guys can always take advantage on them. And I think that last week we also spoke about getting the items from outlet, Amazon outlet,
yes,
and from Amazon
deals, also warehouse.
Yeah, warehouse deals. So again, this is an advantage that you can always take. Open box, like new, those items for sure can give you an advantage, and this is items that you should approach to, because always remember that a good deal is a deal that I'm purchasing a product for a good price. That's the advantage that we can bring to the table.
So let's say I'm just starting out as a seller. I already have my store with a little bit higher limits than initially. Let's say I can put 100, 200 items. How would you suggest that I start finding the items to sell? What are the steps to do the market research for a new seller?
Yeah, so it's very hard to at least just guess like what is like a good selling product. So I'm guessing that people should always try to concentrate on a niche. And when trying to concentrate on a niche, the first question that you are asking yourself is, are you guys some kind of an expert in those niche? Can you bring something that that relates to your advantages to the table, such as, like, let's say that I like bikes and I like to ride bikes, and that means that I know about things that is related to clothing, gloves, helmets, all kinds of accessories. That means that I can bring myself, I can give tips, tricks, I know exactly what is working, what is not. So when going into something like that, always try to think first inside and then outside. Inside, try to bring yourself into the table, trying to think what is the best things for you to give as an advantage, and from there just take and try to just spread out, get out with your mind, in the same category. Now, when you get into the category, don't try to find like the best items that are selling. Try to find items that are, for example, newly listed, because those items are very like, think about sellers that are selling on Amazon, Walmart. Those items are looking to always trying to, like, sellers trying always to promote those items. So if you guys will find like the newly listed, you will try to find those items and really explore them. It for sure give you an advantage because it will have less competition because it's newly listed. Second, it's because sellers are always trying to promote newly listed items, so they are giving better prices and better deals for those items.
Yeah, also we have to remember that especially when we do dropshipping from Amazon, many sellers, everyone copies one from another. And so when you bring something new to the table, it's both great for eBay's Cassini search results placement and also for buyers to see, oh, there's something new, finally, it's not the same old pictures copied from one to another. Now, yeah, maybe something that is newly listed now will not be so new in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that's why you need to always be fresh, right? You need to always freshen up your stock, put the newly listed items not from yesterday but from today, and going forward like that for a period of time continually.
Great. So I'm gonna pause like the training that we just did, because I think it's more training than news, and maybe try to listen to you guys. Like, what is your approach regarding things? Do you have like any question regarding like the best strategy, how to start, things that we can maybe contribute to you as knowledge? So think about it and maybe just write in the comments. We will try to speak about it as we go. Igal, maybe yes. Meanwhile people are still thinking about what exactly their approach in order to do a good market research. What is like your approach? How do you like use market research tools or other things in order to find like your products?
Okay, so basically I have several strategies. The strategy that I use specifically for new accounts is I create kind of a database of the best eBay sellers that also do dropshipping. It's easy to see because you can just see what if one item is from Amazon and kind of has a profit, then you see if there's another item that they have, and then if it's also for profit, then most likely they're dropshippers from Amazon. And then you can see what other sellers the same item, what they're selling, and so on. So I usually take kind of a big bulk of sellers like this and put it in a research software, and it doesn't really matter which. You have like in Terapic you used to be able to do that, but nowadays you can't do that. There's Chili Hunter, there's Zik Analytics, there's Profit Scraper, which actually I like, and I'll then scrape them and see what items are kind of the top sellers. I'm not interested in items that sell 3 times per month. It's not interesting for me, and maybe in the past it was good, nowadays it's not effective. I'll see if these items that they sell hundreds of times are some things that I can reasonably compete with and I can improve upon. So let's say I have scraped, 100 sellers, found like 200 really good items. Excuse me. The next step is I look at them and see if I can make them more attractive to buyers. Maybe I can get a better title, maybe I can get a better picture. For example, a thing that I do is, because people use the Amazon pictures, sometimes if you search on Google for the same item, you can have a slightly different picture, and this makes a big difference. Again, both with eBay, as putting your placement in the search results, and also buyers that see something new. So that's how I start with. I see what are the winners, what other sellers are selling successfully, trying to, again, not copy them, but see if I can even improve upon that. Because if I can let's say put a better picture, better title, better description, and the price may be a little bit higher, I still have a good chance of selling this a lot. After that, you can either proceed with that. It's something that's kind of time consuming, but I think it's worthwhile. So that's one thing. Another thing is actually what I do is I sometimes send to all my buyers a message, a template, and I ask them, first of all, I hope that you're glad with the item. I wanted to know what kind of other items would you like to see, what kind of items you're interested in. Now I'll tell you right away that if you have just a little bit buyers, then nobody will answer that. But if you have like hundreds or thousands of sales every month, and you're messaging them with that question, you'll have kind of interesting stuff that they will give you some directions, because maybe they're experts in what they're buying. And then you can offer, not only just put that in your account, you can also tell them, oh, by the way, I just have this in my account, give them the link and they'll buy it. So that's one thing. Yeah, I think for beginners it's that. When I do it for bigger accounts, I just do it for more scale, less optimization, and more kind of working on numbers.
Yeah. So we have a question from Anna. She's asking, what do you do with items that are selling for more than $100? So that's orders that considered expensive, like the accounts are getting closed with Amazon, and people are having many issues. So I have to say that it's like a very challenging period of time of the year. So again, like Amazon is doing a lot of issues, closing many accounts, and I think for me it sounds very reasonable, because one of the things that Amazon wants to do is to always protect their brand. And today, when they are seeing like many people abusing the brand with dealing with all kinds of fake accounts, with a lot of issues, tax exemptions, and many other things that that doesn't consider to Amazon as a fair play. So and just to give you another example in the world before I answer Anna's question, so another thing that people are doing, they are buying like gift cards for huge discounts, and then they are going to Amazon, they are sitting down under one of the items, let's say it's a Prime item, and then they are offering it as a marketplace, as a third party seller. And now, since they are purchasing like the gift card for, let's say, 30% off, 40% off, what they are doing, they are offering like the same item that they don't possess as a dropshippers, and they are like lowering the price because they can purchase the product in 40% discount. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Now, Amazon, this is like where they draw the line. For them, this is like one of the worst things that can happen, because now Amazon are selling the products for less money. Now they have issues with gift cards and stuff like that. The prices are starting to go down because many of the sellers are trying to drive the prices down because they have more competition. So that means in general it's like driving the market nuts. So in order to still continue purchasing expensive items, what you probably need to do is to walk straightly as Amazon expected. So if you have like business accounts registered under a real business in the United States, you will probably don't have those issues. Now I will probably post in like 5 minutes after the live will end. I will post, for example, products that I purchase in my accounts. I can still purchase products that are worth for $1,000, $800. I'm gonna share the pictures. You will see the dates. It's actually from today, yesterday, and the day before. You will see products that I'm purchasing for a very high prices. With no issues, Amazon doesn't close my account, and yes, I'm using gift cards, and I can also, you will be able also to see that in the picture that I will post. So the only reason why Amazon doesn't close my accounts is not because I'm very special or I know Jeff Bezos or his ex-wife. I'm actually doing things like Amazon expects me to do, and I'm not doing any monkey business. When other people are approaching to discounted cards, they're approaching into unlawfully tax exempt, they are dealing with accounts that are supposed to be a student account or any other way that they are doing stuff. This is the results. Now, I want to say that and I'm sorry for the advertisement, but this is something that I must say. So I'm about to go out to the market with a very good and very nice software that's supposed to solve all kinds of those issues. So I'm gonna purchase products for the customers, and you can submit order at any price. I'm not sure that I'm gonna take risk of items that are selling for $1,000 and more, but anyway, you can still be able to purchase products in 100, 200, 300, 400, and so on. And it's working. So I'm still, I'm actually almost finished the testing of doing that. I call it Buy It For Me, and very soon I'm gonna offer that to everyone worldwide. And for now, I'm just keeping it in my closed circle of clients. But anyway, that's one of the solutions that I'm gonna offer to the world of dropshipping while people cannot do that.
So that's a big announcement, by the way. That's a big thing. I think it's something that many people will take advantage, and it's interesting to see. So Anna asks, so you have a registered company in US and business account on Amazon?
Yeah.
And yeah, you said that's the case. Also, I can tell you, I have also a non-business account, but it's on my name. And like purchases, especially very expensive ones that I might have to give Amazon answers about, I will do on that account, and I will do that even with my credit card if I have cashback points, if I have like rewards. So you know, you don't want to take risks with higher amounts like that. You have to have it on somewhere that you have documentation to back up. For example, they might want you to send the whole card, or maybe you holding the card. I think one time it was.
Well, more like a billing address,
Yeah, also
more like statements. So again, in regards to that, when dealing with multiple accounts, normally what people is actually doing, they're using a virtual credit cards, a VCC, what is called.
Yeah.
So those kind of credit cards, as you know, it's not a credit card actually. It's like a virtual debit, and those cards cannot be proven with statements and stuff like that. And this is one of the reasons of account closure as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, Anna's waiting for the solution. That's good, because the solution is will be available very soon, I think, to people. All right, so let's see. Do we have anything else? Any other questions? We'll give you guys a minute, and then if nothing more, then we'll end the session at this point.
I'm just gonna say that, guys, as you know, we work very hard to provide you with this information and news, and as always for free. And what we expect, at least from you, is to like, to share, to share the love, because we truly believe that once this community will grow, you guys can ask as many questions as you want, and we will give you those answers, and not just us, also other people from the community. It will be a growing community that will work together. So like and share, add your friends, bring them to our dropshipping free videos, because
Spread the love.
spread the love, exactly. So, any other questions from people before we are wrapping up?
Let's give them 10 more seconds. Just last chance.
Okay. More news, Igal?
Sorry?
More news?
More news, views, and reviews. No, actually, let's see. Ascend Vladimirov, do you recommend using obscure suppliers instead of Amazon? I think he means other suppliers of products.
Okay, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. Now, obscure is a big word. Now, I mean, I would say before you test, try to look around their site, look what are their return policies, shipping policies, see if their customer support is available. Returns for me are the most important, actually, return questions. I would say the best thing is you can see some monitors and software, like in SKU Grid they have like a list of hundreds of suppliers that you can actually see and use. Now you can use those because those are usually the ones who people use and have success with. If you want others, I would say contact them first if you really if you really see potential. What I did back in the day, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I found a site called something Geek Time Geek, News Geek, I don't know, but it had very hot items, so I started selling them, and like I had maybe 100 sales in a few days, but then when people wanted to return, I had a big problem. They didn't want to accept that, especially because it's from many addresses. And also after 5 orders, they told me they decline it because they sell it to different places. So you have to ask these questions. Try to find someone who can give you good answers on that, because you have different needs than any other customer, any other supplier, any other buyer. So I think that's good.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that when selling items from suppliers, you should always try to think what is like your best strategy. Do you want to concentrate on items that are coming from the United States, or do you want to concentrate on items that are coming from China, for example? So if you decided to concentrate on items coming from the United States, which is what I recommend at least, you should always think about the benefits and the disadvantages. For example, when listing items from suppliers from the United States, it has a very good customer support. You can always return the item. You can always deal with all kinds of issues that you may encounter with. But when dealing with US suppliers, not always you will get like the best price. Sometimes you will have issues with payment methods or how you are dealing with the money. So anyway, once you are started to concentrate on the region on where you are looking to sell those items from, then try to find like your best solution. So for example, I can say that if I was choosing China, for example, I was for sure trying to get suppliers, because many of the Chinese people are ready to do that with even just a single item that is being sold. And I was always trying to start things slowly. Don't try to just take all the items from the supplier. Just grow gradually. Don't explode with all the products, and I'm sure that this is one of the things. But still, as mentioned, Amazon is very hard to live as a supplier, because it's a very good supplier.
Reliable.
We do have a lot of issues these days, but again, the advantages is very familiar to everyone.
Yeah. Now, last question. Asen asks also, can you recommend a supplier? I can tell like what I can recommend Overstock if you're smart with the discounts and the coupons and stuff like that. You can get very very good deals that even though I think they sell on eBay. They have sales on eBay, but they're not very optimized. But if you have good coupons, you have better ways to create titles, create images, and so on. Then they're a very good product supplier that I think can even give you very good margins.
I want to recommend Lowe's as a supplier because I see that in comparison to other suppliers, they are like the most flexible ones. Now, the only issues with Lowe's is you should be very careful and learn how to deal with them in regarding to things that are related to returns. So sometimes Lowe's offers the return in a physical gift card to the buyer. So you need to learn how to deal with them, but I think it's a very good source. So this is at least my tip for the American ones. And also I'm gonna say, and again I'm doing advertisement, but I'm allowed to.
Yeah, it's your account.
Okay, perfect. So in Triple Mars, we are about to offer in the next month. We launched the Triple Mars B2B where we are offering, we will offer in the next month many items with very competitive pricing. Actually, we are aiming to be better than Amazon, at least in all the products that we are offering. So that means that people will be able to sell those items from suppliers, and I will be able to also provide people with contracts and all kinds of certificates that helps them prove that they are working with a real dropshipper. So that's also my news.
Perfect. Awesome. So with that being said, we had a lot of interesting information here. So we'll wrap up this episode for today. So I want to say thank you guys for being with us. We're here 1 hour, which is nice. I want to say thank you to you, Maor.
Thanks, Igal.
And
it's always pleasure.
It's a pleasure, and the pleasure will continue in 1 week from now, which is Monday, 4 p.m. as well. So hopefully we'll see you all guys again.
See you soon, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. איך מסיימים?
פה אצלך.